Hey, what's up guys? We're here for the final part of the 4-part series to our M&P M2.0 compact review and 1,000 round test. So let's start out with a recap of what we've done so far. In part 1 we did a tabletop look at the gun and I kind of discussed what I liked and what I didn't like about it right off the bat, first time handling it. And we decided that we were going to change the trigger and the sights right off the bat. So we did a set of Frank Proctor fiber optic front sight with a blacked out rear, and then we put the Apex flatty trigger in it. And then we headed right to the range to put 75 rounds of Federal HST, which is my chosen carry ammo, just to make sure that we didn't have any function issues before we were going to carry it every day. Then in part 2 we went back to the range with 925 rounds of Freedom Munitions 115 grain American steel ammo and ran into nothing but issues. We kept getting, at the time we didn't know if it was light primer strikes or if it was bad primers in the ammunition itself. So we ran about 200 rounds through it that day and we couldn't even make it through a single magazine without a malfunction. So that kind of put the question in my head, is it a gun issue or an ammo issue? So I didn't want to let it go for too long because I was carrying this gun every day during the review process. So I came home that night and I switched the remaining ammo out for Speer Lawman 124 grain ammo, which I've shot a lot of that and I've taken it to classes and I've never had any issue with Speer ammo. So we headed right back to the range the next day. I ran a little over 600 rounds through it of the Speer ammo the next day without a single malfunction. So that pretty much told me that it was strictly an ammo issue and not a gun issue, which kind of put my mind at ease a little bit about carrying the gun again. After getting home from the part 3 video, I went through my 1,000 round case of ammo and counted up what we had left, and we had a little over 100 rounds left. And my last range trip I didn't film because even though it's April, we just got hit with 14 inches of snow, so I didn't bring all my camera equipment to the range and set up tripods and deal with all that in the snow. It did run the last little over 100 rounds with no malfunctions or no issues of any type. So other than the Freedom Munitions ammo, the gun ran great. So here's a quick overview of my experience carrying this gun every day. It was every bit as comfortable as carrying my Glock 19. The only real problem I had was actually a gear problem and not a gun problem. When I decided to do this and I ordered the gun, I wanted to start this review process right away, and the holster companies that I like all do custom made holsters which take anywhere from like 5 to 12 weeks to receive a holster. So instead of going that route, I went with this Armadillo Concealment Luxe holster, which is basically formed around the Surefire X300 light instead of solely around the gun itself. So there's a variety of guns that will actually fit in this holster as long as it has the light on it. And the slide on the M&P is just a tiny bit wider than the slide on a Glock, so I did struggle a little bit with reholstering this gun with all the stuff that I did at the range. Every time I would go to reholster it, I'd kind of have to wiggle it in there to get the holster to open up enough before it would slide down in. And I didn't really like that. Every time you go to reholster appendix, you know, you kind of had to fight the gun down in the holster, which is not the best feeling. You want that gun to just slide down in nice and easy to where you know that nothing's catching in that trigger guard. I am going to hang on to this Luxe holster because it does fit my agency arms nock really well. And the end of the holster, as far as the length, it just covers the compensator on this gun. So it fits this holster really nice. So I'm going to keep it for this gun. And since then, I got one of these new Axis holsters from Tier 1 Concealment, and as you can see, this is an all-in-one holster and mag pouch setup to where it has this cording in the middle which gives you some flex. So when you're carrying this in the appendix position up front, it allows this to move with your body, so it's every bit as comfortable as carrying a separate holster and mag pouch setup. So I'm liking this holster a lot so far. I've been carrying this for about the past week, and I actually have 2 more holsters on order with them, which will probably be 6 weeks before I see those. But I do like this one so much I ordered a couple more. So the whole reason I wanted to do this review was to know whether I could honestly recommend this gun to my friends, clients, or students. And after putting the 1,000 rounds through it and carrying it for these last few weeks, there's definitely a lot of things that I do like about this gun, and let's go over those real quick. The first gun that everybody compares this to is the Glock 19. So let's talk about what I like about this gun that is better than the Glock 19. If you're talking straight out of the box, gun for gun, when they're brand new, the M&P has much better sights from the factory. It comes with steel sights on it, which have a really nice ledge for one-handed manipulations. I did change the sights on it because it had a 3-dot design, which is just not my preferred sight. I do like the red fiber optic front with a blacked out rear, but that's just a personal preference thing. The sights that came on it are really nice sights. The other thing that is much better than a stock out-of-the-box Glock is the grip texture on this gun. This gun has every bit as much traction as a well-stippled aftermarket stipple job, like on this Agency Arms knock. Agency did a retexture stipple job on this gun, and this texture from M&P feels every bit as good as the texture job from Agency Arms. But one thing that I did not like about this gun right out of the box was the trigger. The M&P has like a hinged style trigger. For the trigger shoe safety portion of it, it's hinged in the middle, and it has a lot of take up and a lot of pre-travel, which when you would take up the pre-travel, the distance from the trigger shoe to the end of your grip was pretty short compared to a Glock 19. Which made it to where I had a lot of trigger finger buried into that trigger guard, and I just didn't really like that length and the amount of take up. So I chose to put the Apex Flatty trigger in it. So this is a aluminum flat face trigger shoe, and it has much less take up. It just has a little bit, about, you know, comparable to my Agency Arms triggers and my Glocks. So this was a worthwhile upgrade in my opinion. So in the end, will I recommend this gun to my students and friends? And the short answer is yes, absolutely. I really enjoyed carrying this gun and shooting it for the time that I've had it so far, and this will probably stay in my carry rotation as a gun that I still carry from time to time. I did really enjoy shooting it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this journey, and hopefully you guys learned a few things, or at least found it entertaining. I had a good time running 1,000 rounds through this gun. So the M&P M2.0 definitely gets the nod of approval from me, and I'm Jason Hitchings. I'll see you in another video real soon.